Hey, welcome everybody out to the presentation tonight. My name is Trevor, and I'm going to be hosting this one. We're actually talking very specifically about 12 things to do before you apply for Google AdSense. Now, this stage in our training over the past couple of months, if you've been following it and doing what you should be doing, you should have your site developed, have a domain name, have it set up on WordPress. You've picked a design, you've started working on content. Right now you're probably in the mode where you're just building content, writing blog post after blog post after blog post. And that naturally leads into, okay, so when do I start trying to monetize my blog and bring in some revenue off of all of this work? Well, this I can't take credit for this. This isn't my blog post. This is somebody else's, but it's really well done. And I agree with everything in it. So we're going to kind of go through this. This is the 12 things you need to be doing before you set up with AdSense. Okay. Now I've said this all along. If you guys read here with me, this guy thinks the same thing. He says, but it's not easy to get into AdSense program nowadays. You have to follow a few things before applying to AdSense. Here's some of the things you might be thinking. One, how to apply. How do I go about applying? How do I qualify for AdSense? Am I eligible for AdSense? What are the Google AdSense requirements? Why Google AdSense rejected my application? And I actually worked with one of you guys this week on a rejected Google AdSense application, and sure enough, it's probably because one of these points. So we're not going to talk about what is Google AdSense right here. You guys already know what it is. Just in short, it's where you partner with Google, and Google posts advertisements and links on your website. And if people click on those ads, you get paid a portion of the revenue generated. So you're in kind of like a revenue sharing program with Google. You're literally partnered with Google. And I've told you guys this before. It's really cool if you ever have Google send you a check for the money you're making in AdSense. You'll impress a lot of people at your bank if you go and you cash your check. I've done that before, and people are like, "Oh wow, you're in Utah and you work for Google? That's so cool. How does that work?" And you have to kind of explain what you do on your website. But it is really, really neat. You are in a real partnership with Google. This right here, I want to talk about for just a second. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this just a little bit better. Why AdSense will reject your application, okay? Here are the most common reasons and AdSense requirements which they give when they reject your application. Okay, number one, insufficient content or unacceptable site content. A real person reviews your website, guys, before you get accepted into AdSense. And they're going to look at your content. And right now, one of you guys mentioned a minute ago, Kirk, I think it was you. You said you had like 4, yeah, right, 4 blog posts on your blog, which is a great start. But I wouldn't apply to AdSense with that because your content's too thin. So you need lots of content. This guy argues you need like 50 blog posts. Well, something like that. I'll get to that in a minute. I don't think you need quite that much, but he says you need a lot of blog posts. You need a lot of articles, a lot of content on your site. Not only a lot, he says you need to be grammatically correct. It must be unique and has to provide value to the users and readers of the blog. So the number one reason is poorly written content on your blog. So you can't get on there and just crank out a bunch of articles that are really poorly written and expect AdSense to accept your application. Your content really does need to be grammatically correct, make sense, add some value, and there needs to be a bunch of it, okay? Number 2, and I actually didn't realize this could be the case, but your page type or your page design. He says, what will you do if you land on a page with full bright yellow background with white text on it, having huge buttons all over the place? Yes, you'd probably click away. You guys have all seen it, right? You guys have seen those really ugly websites out there that have the colors that clash together. They look really old school. Google isn't going to want to accept a website like that. You don't have to be some kind of professional designer, but you have to have content that looks nice and a website that looks professional. So a nicely designed theme, a nicely designed theme. And yes, I will send the link, Catherine. I'll send that here at the very tail end. Okay, number 3. And this, I know a lot of you guys don't have yet because we haven't talked about it. No privacy policy, about us page, or contact us page. You actually need those pages on your site. They give the impression that you've got like a really nice, legitimate site. So if you don't have a privacy policy, an about us page, or a contact us page, you need to get one written right away. Now, we won't talk tonight about what should go on those pages. We certainly can in a webinar up and coming. So if you're like, oh crap, I don't have any of those set up, well, we can talk about it, but just know you're going to want those on your site before you apply. Number 4 is a site that doesn't comply with Google policies. I'll just read this to you. So no rich, unique, and meaningful content, no organic traffic, pages with little to no original content or bad user experience through clear navigational and organizational problems. Your website may be the one that drives traffic through illegal resources, uses excessive keyword stuffing, poorly coded design. Anyway, you guys probably wouldn't even know how to do that if you could. You just want to make sure you're complying with general good best practices of Google Webmasters best practices, I guess you could say. I won't pull up the document, but Google has this list of for webmasters best practices, and that's just explaining what some of those are. Okay, so 12 things to do before applying for AdSense. Number 1 is your privacy policy. Number 2 is your About Us page. That needs to be there. About Us, just talking a little bit about who you are, the company, what your purpose is. A Contact Us page. You should have some kind of an email on this page. You know, you just want to come across as being legitimate because, again, a real person is going to be looking at this site. If you're missing some of these pages, they're going to wonder how legit you actually are. Let's see. Number 4 I thought was interesting. When you apply, don't forget to put your name and email address in some easily visible area like the About Me or Contact Us pages. So you may actually want to put your name on the site so that there's an actual name with the contact information. Number 5. So this is a mistake that most younger bloggers are making that are less than 18. They write incorrect age on their site or like their Gmail account, because when you apply for AdSense, you use a Gmail account, and if your Gmail account shows that you're younger than 18, they won't accept, or AdSense won't accept you. So when you create your Gmail account, most of my clients are older than 18. I'm just saying if it showed that you were younger than 18, that would be a problem because that's too young to use AdSense. Okay, I want to read 6 with you guys for just a second. Number 6 is minimum number of posts. What should be the minimum number of posts on your blog before applying to Google AdSense? And I want to emphasize this because I get this question all the time. How many blog posts do I need before I start? There is no confirmed answer. We have no idea, okay? And this confirms that. There is no answer to that, okay? They just give you some general platitudes about how you want really good content and you want a bunch of it, but they don't give you a number of posts. This guy, though, has kind of an interesting point. He says, because I have seen very established blogs with 400 plus posts and their owner telling me that the Google AdSense is rejecting them, while some other bloggers have like 40 or 50 posts, they actually get accepted. So it's not always in the volume of posts that you have. That blogger who had 400 blog posts and didn't get accepted to AdSense probably was breaking some other policy. Maybe they didn't have a privacy policy on their page, or maybe their design was really crappy looking, right? It didn't look good at all, or maybe they didn't have a Contact Us page. There's a lot of reasons for why that wouldn't work. Somebody this week recently got accepted, and they had like 12 blog posts, but they were really well written. So there, it's true. Like you can kind of be all across the spectrum. But I don't think I would ever apply to AdSense if I were you guys with less than like 15 really well written, well done blog posts. I think that should be around the number that you start thinking about applying. Okay. Okay, this is interesting too. He says, according to my experience, you should only apply after you have more than 50 posts. Okay, that's his opinion. I don't know if I necessarily agree that. Post length must be 500 words too, with quality content. So it can't be short, choppy posts, which I agree with. Google wants like good quality content and a lot of it. So if you're going to be doing blog posts, I think it's okay on occasion to go less than 500 words, but you want the bulk of your content to be around that 500 word mark or more. And that's not that many, guys. That's 3 or 4 well done paragraphs. So keep that in mind. You need to have a good quality design. We've talked about that. Content type. Okay, I don't think this should be a problem for most of you guys, but Google AdSense is not for pornographic, pirated, illegal, drugs, anything that's illicit like that. You can't have or promote on your site. So don't do it. I don't think that's. I mean, I won't say any more than that. Providing value. Google loves the blogs who are providing value in their content, and their visitors and customers are enjoying that value. Be sincere with your visitors. Don't ever try to scam them, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so just having good quality content. The blogs that we're doing, guys, are more informational based, right? Our whole goal is to create this blog that's going to be educational, informational, and if you do a good job with that, that would make up quality content. Number 10, you need a top level domain. In other words, if you're going to go out there and you have a domain that's a blogspot domain or a WordPress.com domain, that's not going to work. You don't want what's called a subdomain. So a subdomain would be something like www.myblog.wordpress.com. That's not a real domain. We've taught you guys earlier to go and actually register a real domain that's hosted on a real server before you apply. Anyway, you want an actual domain name. I won't belabor that point. Number 11, other ad networks. If you have any other ads placed like Chiquita, Clickser, or anything like that, that's a problem. In other words, it's okay to have like some other affiliate ads placed, but I think before I would apply to AdSense, I would make AdSense maybe one of the first affiliate networks that you actually apply to, so that your site's not littered with ads everywhere. And then when somebody gets onto your site from Google and looks at it, they're like, oh, I don't know if we want our content and our ads littered with all the other ads. So Google AdSense should be your first one. Paid traffic. If the only traffic sources for your site are you're going out and paying for traffic, they don't like it. We're not going to be doing that anyway. Here's his last remark, and I agree with this. What if I never get approved for my AdSense? Like, what if you guys actually have a blog and you apply and you never can get approved for some reason, and we can never figure it out? Okay, that's possible, right? I can't get on the phone with Google and talk to them about why your site's not getting approved for AdSense. That's impossible. It's not like Google has customer service that I can call up and have somebody from the AdSense division help me out. There's forums out there, there's different helps. So if your site's really having problems getting approved, let me know. Talk to me about it. I can help you out with it. But worst case scenario, if for some reason you guys didn't get approved to AdSense, there are other ad networks that we can do. Stuff that we haven't even talked about in this series at all. I know it's been very Google AdSense weighted, right? Well, that's all we've really talked about up to this point because I think it's such a great network. But there's other networks out there, and I've been talking to some of you guys about it. There's a network called CJ.com or shareasale.com or linkshare.com. These are big affiliate brokerages that can help us get set up with companies that would love to advertise or have us advertise their stuff on our sites. Those big brokerages is where the idea of doing link posting originated, because these are companies that need people like you to post their links so that they can have their products advertised, and so you can get paid. So if worst case scenario, and I'm not gonna go through a lot of these right now. Worst case scenario, if you don't get approved for some reason and we can never ever figure it out, well, guess what? We can still make money off of your site. There's a million ways to do it. I just think AdSense tends to be one of the best. Okay. All right. So let me send this out to all of you guys. I thought this was just a really, really great blog post. This is a great example of what we're trying to do. This guy is like a blogger who his niche is helping other bloggers figure out marketing tips and how to make money off of their blog. I really love this, and this type of content is so good. This is the type of content you guys want, that people are going to use, that people like myself would find and be like, oh, that's great, I'm going to share this in a webinar. If you've got that kind of content, that's going to be great for your blog. So let me send out this link to all of you guys. Here it comes. Hey, did everybody get that, by the way? I'm going to send it out one more time. You guys should all have the link. Okay. Let's answer a few questions and then we'll finish up, guys. I told you I'd keep it shorter tonight. Kirk, you say I'm working on being a bit more controversial in my content because I feel like it'll get noticed a bit more. Yep, I agree with that. That doesn't hurt at all. Catherine, you say, I think my challenge is coming up with titles that rank high as keyword phrases in Moz. That's an interesting challenge. So the SEO part is maybe a little more challenging. That we can spend some more time on for sure. Michelle, I don't know if I would say it's for someone who likes to write. And I can tell you that because I don't like to write. I never have. My background's in finance, and so I'm a numbers person. I'm not a writer. Yet, when I caught wind of this strategy and I started to do it, it almost became addicting, and I started to really like creating content and writing. So content creation isn't just about writing. It's about being creative. It's about, posting a YouTube video and writing up a short synopsis or summary or critique of it. It's about having great links in your content. It's not that you have to be some great writer, because I certainly am not. But you're right, Michelle, in that you are going to be doing a little bit of writing, and so you have to be willing to at least do it. But hey, if you start making good money off of it, it's all worth it. I always say, it may take me an hour and a half sometimes to write a really well done piece of content, but that piece of content, that blog post, is going to remain in Google for years. And if I've got ads on that blog post that's in Google for years, that's years of people finding my content, seeing my ads, clicking on it, and making me money. So that hour and a half spent creating that one really good piece of content could make me hundreds, if not thousands of dollars over the course of several years. And that's what makes this all really exciting. I mean, there's not too many things you can do in life where you work for an hour and a half and make $500, right? Or make $1,000. Yeah, maybe that comes in over the course of several years. But if you have a blog full of articles like that, you can make some serious money. So it is worth it. But I agree with what you're saying. Michelle says, do most people get approved the first time, or is it really hard to get approved? No, I would say most people get approved the first time, Michelle. if you follow our advice here about the things that we've really sort of hammered home, which, by the way, really at its core, I mean, I know we've looked at this whole article, but at its core, you have a regular domain, something.com. You're focusing on a niche, and you have kind of a nice, clean design. You've got at least 10, 15 blog posts that are pretty well written, around 500 words or more, nothing copied. It's good, unique content, stuff that you've worked on, and then you've got like a privacy policy, an about us, and a contact us page. If you've done all of those things, no, it shouldn't be hard at all. You should get accepted to AdSense in a second. Okay? Yeah, Rick's not a big fan of writing. It doesn't come easy to me either. I hear you. How long does the .com have to be open before applying for AdSense? Alan asks. Not long. It just has to have enough content on it. So I guess in theory, if I opened up a new website today and I got all 35 of you guys who are here with me to write one good blog post over the course of the next day, and we all compiled it onto the blog, and I applied the day after that, I could get approved as long as I'm following all of these guidelines. Richard in Virginia, how much content is too much? Really, there's no rule there. I've got one blog post that's 3,000 words, and others that are 300 words. So I don't think there's a limit. As long as you're keeping it interesting and you're peppering your blog post with images and links and videos, and you know what I mean, because people's attentions these days aren't that great unless it's a really, really technical type of blog that would merit just a lot of wording. That would be appropriate, but I think it's a case by case basis. More content is always better than less. Yeah, and that's it, Kirk. It all depends on pumping out solid content with a clean looking site. Yep. Let's see, Catherine, you say, I do enjoy writing and is picky about content, so I research the hell out of a title, keyword, phrase before writing. Yep. Absolutely. It's pretty wise to, and we'll talk about this in other webinars, but it really is wise to do some keyword research to guide what you're writing about. If you can find really good quality keyword phrases that aren't highly competitive, that can guide your writing and help you, get your blog content exposed sooner rather than later. Michelle, that's a good question, or just a good thought. I have a hard time knowing if my content is good enough or long enough after you read and reread it. It's hard to know. Yeah, I agree. It's the same thing. If you stare at something too long or you concentrate on something too long, it drives you crazy a little bit. You get over analytical. You overthink it. I think that's true of your blog content. You'll learn that, Michelle. That only comes with experience. As you're reading other blogs in your industry, and as you do enough blogging yourself, you get a good feel for how good your content is. That's an experience thing for sure. Oliver, you say, if I get responses from blog readers and I publish them on the blog, are the responses counted in the AdSense approval process? Yeah, they'll see those. They'll see those responses. But they also know the difference between a comment and your actual writing. Where does the privacy policy about us and contact information go? You probably just need to put it somewhere in your main, like, for example, let me pull up my Strawberry site real quick and then we'll finish up. Albion Strawberry. Oh, whoops, I spelled that wrong. There we go. I would probably have my contact us and about us in my main menu somewhere. So probably right here on the left-hand side. Right. So we're for this specific theme, my menu is on the left-hand side. If my menu was running across the top, I would probably want about us, contact us, up there somewhere, or down in the footer of your site. If you've got a footer section down here with some links, about us, contact us, privacy would be a good spot. As long as it's there somewhere and the person evaluating your site can find it, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And yeah, Catherine, you're just going to create pages within WordPress. Those should be designated pages for sure. I'm sure we'll do a post on that as soon as I revamp this site, change the domain up a little bit. I'll do an example of that for you guys so you have something to follow. Categories, I think we've talked about categories in these discussions before, but we can certainly talk about them again. Sure. All right, guys, I'm going to turn off the recording. If you guys are watching this recorded, thanks for coming along. Hopefully now you at least know what you need to do on your site before you apply to AdSense.